Hello there everyone, and welcome back to my channel for my first real YouTube video, you guys. I'm doing it. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cicely, and I thought for my very first YouTube video that I would start off this channel doing something a little bit differently. And so rather than start off by doing a tutorial or working on a new project, I would instead kind of show some footage of me working on some UFOs and essentially closing one chapter in my life so that I can start fresh in this new chapter of YouTube land and new projects and all of the fun stuff. So with that being said, let's go over some of the projects you'll see me working on in this video. Alright, so the first UFO I'll be working on today is a pair of 15th century stays, and I want to say I started this project originally in 2016, which, if that is in fact the case, you guys, how have I held on to this thing for 5 years? I don't know how it hasn't gone missing. I don't know how I have managed to pretend like I don't see it when I've gone to put other projects on top of it. But it's fine. You know why? Because we're finishing her today. We are finishing her today, and we just won't talk about those, last 5 years that she's been in that bin, because we're making up for that today. Second UFO I'll be working on is an Italian Renaissance chemise that I started in 2020. I want to say I started in the summertime of 2020, and pretty much like 2020, aka the year that never was, this chemise also never was. But that's, again, okay, because we're finishing it today. As the sticky note says, you can do it, I can do it, we are going to do it. And last but certainly not least, our final UFO is a cottagecore inspired apron that I want to say I started in March. I want to say I started either like end of March, like beginning of April, somewhere in that time frame, because I needed an apron, okay? Cottagecore had just recently entered into my life, and the apron was calling to me, and I just had to answer the call. Unfortunately, the call didn't finish because I never finished the apron. But like I said, we're finishing things today, so that won't be a problem anymore. And yes, with that being said, let us go ahead and get right into the video. Let's go. Follow me. Alright, so I don't know about you, but for me, I feel like UFOs act as sort of little timestamps or like time capsules. That's a better word. Yeah, little time capsules that kind of hold information for where you were at certain points in your life. And for me, these stays were the first historical anything that I had ever attempted to work on. And in hindsight, definitely could have chosen an easier project. But your girl was ambitious, okay? We were shooting for the top, and unfortunately we didn't make it. Yeah, I was just so excited to get into historical costuming that I was just like, stays, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna do it now. Even though I've never made a pair of stays before, never attempted anything like this on this scale before, I didn't care. I just wanted to jump in. But unfortunately, there were a lot of little things that I essentially had to learn along the way that were basically just causing me frustration and making me just hate this project. Like, at one point in time, you'll see me have to stop working on it to look up how to do a whip stitch because I couldn't remember how to do it because I haven't done it in forever. And so if this was back then when I was first working on this project, I would have completely stopped. I would have been completely put off because it's like, oh, I have to stop again to look up how to do this thing that, to be clear, I've never done before, but I have to stop. Yeah, it would have been a nightmare. I would have completely put it away. But doing it a second time, I definitely let go of this need for everything that I do for the very first time needs to be perfect. And with that said, your first takeaway from this video is done is better than perfect. Okay, when I was so focused on everything needing to be perfect, I didn't realize how much time I was essentially wasting that I otherwise could have been plowing through this project as you see me doing in this video. You know, I'm sitting here focused on just this one microscopic, you know, mistake that I made, that I'm completely ignoring all of this other stuff that I did really well that I had never done before. And so takeaway number 2 for you is enjoy the ride of being a beginner. Okay, I wish this was put out more, especially in the historical costuming community, that everyone starts off as a beginner. Okay, we don't all just wake up one day with excellent hand sewing skills and machine sewing skills and the ability to, you know, set in sleeves with our eyes closed. Okay, it doesn't happen that way. We all have to make mistakes. It takes time. You know, you build skills as you go. You grow as you go. And so takeaway number 3 is stop comparing your beginning with someone else's end. You can't compare me, for example, new sewist, new historical costumer, to someone who has been doing it for like 17 years and is posting all of the highlights of that work on Instagram, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, well, I guess I have to be at that level, when in reality that's not the case at all. You know, again, we all have our own journey to take, and being a beginner is not a negative, okay? Being a beginner is a good thing, and we should appreciate that time while we have it, because honestly, it's fun. Okay, in hindsight, you look back at certain mistakes that you made and you just laugh, because you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I actually had to stop and look that up, or oh my god, I can't believe like the first time I did this, I put it on backwards or something. Like, these are memories. Like, this is fun. It's supposed to be fun. But again, if you're so focused on perfect and doing everything right the first time, even though you have never done it before, you are missing out, and it stops being fun, and you stop liking this thing that you originally loved. And it's really unfortunate, because you could be having so much fun if you just let go of these, like, I need to be perfect, or comparing your work to someone else, or feeling like you need to be at a certain level when you don't. You don't need to do that at all. I am so glad that I kind of let go of a lot of those things, because like I said, it just went by so much faster. I felt myself actually having fun working on these, and it was just nice. It was nice. The only thing I will say that was not nice was working on those eyelids. It wasn't fun at all, okay? The only thing that got me through it was watching Love Island, which is kind of like my guilty pleasure show that I like to watch whenever I'm sewing something, and yeah, it's the only thing that got me through it. And yes, I'm just so happy that this project is done. I love looking at it. I didn't get any footage of it, so I have pictures in here for you, but she's so beautiful, you guys. I love her. And do I care that the front isn't completely smooth? Nope. Do I care that on the inside maybe some stitches are not so great? Nope. I'm happy that it's done, and I'm happy that this chapter, this 5-year chapter, has finally been closed, and now instead of focusing on this, I can start focusing on building my Tudor wardrobe, or doing all of the historical Tudor things that I want to do now that this is finished. Alright, so next up we have the chemise, and before we even get into this project, we're just going to go ahead and start off with a takeaway, and that is, do what you want to do, not what others are doing. When I first started working on this project, I was under the impression that I had to hand sew this chemise, because that's what everyone else was doing, right? Everyone else is hand sewing all their shifts and their undergarments, and we're putting all of this effort into pieces of clothing that then get more clothing put on top of them, and no one ever sees. It absolutely makes no sense, okay? So I actually decided this time around to go back and just take apart the entire thing, because to be honest, my hand sewing was still not that great. So I decided to just take it apart and do what I originally wanted to do, which was machine sew it. And you guys, it went by so much faster. Who would have thought? Yeah, this thing went by like a breeze, okay? And I wish I had just listened to myself the first time around and just machine sewed it like I wanted to, but I got so caught up in, historical accuracy, even though historical accuracy, it's not like my destination, okay? I do not aspire to be historically accurate when it comes to costuming, and so what difference does it make if I have hand sewn or machine sewn a piece of clothing that you will never see, okay? It's not exactly like you're gonna go to an event and just start taking off your clothes and be like, oh, hey everyone, I just wanted to let you know I hand sewed the shift. I mean, just in case you wanted to know. Like, no, you're not gonna do that, okay? Please don't do that. Keep your clothes on. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense for me, as a costumer at least, to put all of this time and effort into clothing that only gets more clothing put on top of it. So this time around was way easier, went by so fast, in fact, that I hardly have any footage because it literally just flew by. But I am so happy with how it turned out, and now I feel a lot more confident wearing it because I don't have to worry about my seams coming apart or it falling apart on me over time. No, not anymore. I'm like, my mind is completely at ease. I'm just like, no, those seams are fine. Why? Because I machine sewed them. So it's definitely a lot better this time around, and it just looks so good, okay? It's like easy breezy, beautiful chemise girl. I don't know. But yeah, I'm super excited to wear this with the eventual Italian Renaissance outfits that I will make, and hopefully I'll get to show them all to you here. Once I make them, of course. And finally, the last UFO, our cottagecore inspired apron, which, as you can see, is pretty much already done. The only thing I need to do pretty much is add on the lace and sew up the shoulder straps, because I am such an amateur YouTuber that when I was recording footage on my phone so very happily, I was holding my phone in the wrong orientation, and so couldn't use any of that footage. Nope. But you know what? We're gonna go back to takeaway number 2, which is enjoy the journey of being a beginner. Oh, yeah, I'm enjoying it all right. I'm enjoying not being able to use hours of footage that I spent setting up. Oh, it's so fun, you guys. I'm having a ball. But I still had a few takeaways that I wanted to share with the little footage that I have of this project, so I'll go ahead and give those to you guys now. The first one being, give yourself permission to do the things you want to do. I had been interested in cottagecore for the longest time, but unfortunately I was surrounded by so many people who were just anti-cottagecore, anti pretty much anything fun, and I kind of let that influence me a little bit and decided against really participating in this really cool thing that I liked. And I really regret doing that because, you know, I could have been, well, actually, let's put it this way. I could have had at least 12 aprons by this point, is what I mean to say. But I only have this one, and while I love her, I really would have had to kind of put other people's opinions aside and just do what I wanted to do. Like, I don't see why I have to, you know, take in the opinions of other people when these people are not even the ones who are doing it. You know, it's always the people who have either no interest in the thing that you're doing, they don't do the thing that you're doing, who always have so much to say about everything that you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, they don't sew, but they'll tell you everything they hate about sewing. And you're just sitting there like, okay, well, that's great, but you don't do that. I just never understand people like that. They always have so much to say, and yet they do nothing. They do absolutely nothing. So with this project, it was so fun to work on it because it was like, yes, I'm kind of like reclaiming my power, reclaiming my time, the time that I spent caring about what other people had to think, and it was just like, you know what? No, reclaiming my time. I'm gonna go out here, starting off with this one apron, and make 6 others while wearing the apron. Take that. Yeah, I just had so much fun making it, and I now look forward to doing all of the apron things, you know, because there are just so many things to do in an apron. You know, you get to twirl, all the twirling you get to do, and if you have a harvesting apron, then you can go out into your backyard and like pick your freshly grown vegetables and twirl. You're twirling into the house. And as you twirl into the house, you get to the stove. But oh no, you've dropped all the vegetables because you were twirling too much. And inside of the oven is freshly baked bread. Because, you know, that's what cottagecore is, right? That's what everyone does. You twirl around and you make bread. But yes, I'm so looking forward to getting into cottagecore, and I have already several aprons planned for this summer and have all the fabric ready and waiting to go, so your girl's ready to jump in, okay? You're not ready for me in an apron, but you're gonna be ready for me in an apron. But yes, that is it. That is the last takeaway for you, and thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I hope you were able to take something away from it and maybe be like inspired to do something that you really want to do, or at the very least just ignore all the other people who are trying to influence you and tell you what to do and try to basically, well, shit on your parade and do your own thing and not worry so much about everyone else and just enjoy the ride, okay? Because, well, it's fun. So yeah, thank you again for watching this video, and I will see you next time.